So I eat 3,000 calories every single day, and yet I still keep my abs. And no, I'm not genetically gifted, I'm not on any steroids. The way that this is done is through a process, and if you understand how that process works, then you can do the very same thing. But here's the important thing, this isn't about any fancy supplements that up your metabolism, it's about what you do after you get shredded. The part that comes after the diet is usually the bit that most people mess up. Let me explain how this actually works. So when you're dieting, when you're in a calorie deficit for weeks and months, what your body starts to do is it starts to adapt over time. You start to burn less calories. Because you're putting less calories in, your body is just trying to survive and it's trying to match the output with the input. So what happens is your maintenance calories then drop. So let's just say you started off with maintenance calories of around 2,500 calories. After 12 weeks of dieting, your body's adapted and your maintenance calories might now just be 2,000 calories. Essentially what has happened is your metabolism is down-regulated, and you might not realize it, but you're starting to move less. You're starting to maybe, not train as hard in the gym. You're maybe not doing as many steps. You're maybe not fidgeting as much. Your body is finding ways to preserve calories wherever it can. And this is a problem because what do most people do when they finish dieting? Well, they go straight back to their maintenance calories. But what they don't realize is that their maintenance calories are now a hell of a lot lower. So if you go straight back to, let's say, 2,500 calories, when your maintenance is now at 2,000 calories, you're now in 500 calories of a surplus. It was the exact same thing that happened to me in 2016. I just got off the back of a very long bodybuilding prep and I jumped straight into bulking calories. And what happened is I gained back every single pound of body fat that I lost, and I gained it back really quick. So what's the alternative? Reverse dieting is the alternative. And I'm going to explain it to you in this video in the most simple way possible. And the way that this works is instead of jumping straight back up, you gradually increase your calorie intake again over time. So we're talking 100 to maybe 150 calories per week. And then what you'll do is you'll see how your body responds, see what your weight's doing, see how your physique looks, and your body should adapt to it quite well. Because what will happen is you put more calories in, and then you start to burn more calories, you start to move more, you start to have more energy, you start to do more within your workouts. And slowly but surely, as you edge these calories up, your body is finding a way to maintain on more and more calories. But what doesn't tend to work so well is when you take the big jumps. If you do it slowly, your body tends to adapt. If you take the big jumps, your body doesn't seem to know what's going on. And gradually, you'll get your maintenance calories back to where they were at the start of your diet, or sometimes even higher. Now, don't get carried away here. It's not as if you're going to be able to reverse diet yourself up to like 5,000 calories per day. We have to be realistic. There's going to be a ceiling. And that ceiling is going to depend very much on the person. Some people, this will be higher, some people will be lower. The more muscle mass you have, generally speaking, the higher that ceiling will be. But obviously the amount of activity you do in a day also comes into this as well. So we have to be considerate of that. But what it does do either way is it brings you back up to like a normal, healthy range for maintenance. And when you get back up to that, when you've got shredded, and then you've done your reverse diet, and then you get up to that nice level of maintenance, it means that it's going to be a hell of a lot easier to maintain your new physique, because ultimately there's more margin for error, there's more room for maneuver. If you want to go for a meal out at the weekend and you're on 3,000 calories a day and maintaining at that, well, it's a hell of a lot easier to fit in on 3,000 calories per day than it is on 2,000 calories per day. So the more calories you can maintain on, the more likely it is that you'll stay in shape. And as I said at the beginning, for me, this is 3,000 calories per day. I got shredded, I built my calories back up over time, and I'm sitting around 3,000, training relatively hard, doing a decent amount of activity, but I'm managing to stay lean and keep my abs whilst gaining muscles. Doing this properly can set you up in a very, very good place with your physique. But the reason that so many people get themselves shredded and end up regaining all the fat is because they don't pay enough attention to this time after the diet, the phase after the diet's over. They don't have a clue how to reverse diet and how to bring it to a good maintenance point, or even go into a lean bulk from here. They basically just go back to eating whatever they fancy. However, there is a downside, and the downside is that reverse dieting is actually the hardest part of the process. Now, getting shredded isn't easy, but reverse dieting is going to be even tougher, because by this point your hunger hormones are so out of whack that you're going to feel hungry basically all the time. And although you're putting more food in, you're still going to feel like you could eat more and more and more. So you still need to stay patient, you still need to stay disciplined, you still need to do your daily weigh-ins, you still need to do your weekly physique checks, you still need to stay on top of everything. And if you do, this will pay off. So how do you up your metabolism and hold on to your abs when you're eating more food, lifting more weights and feel more energy? Well, you do that by doing a proper reverse diet. Get yourself shredded first, Then focus on the reverse diet, where we're making those small incremental changes week after week, putting more calories in, seeing how the body responds, and building it up until you find you're stealing the most amount of calories that you can be on each day and still maintain a lean physique. It's not going to be easy, but if you do this properly, you're going to be in the best possible position to hold on to your abs that you worked so hard to get. And guys, if you're at the very beginning and you don't know what to do and you still need to get yourself shredded, then head over to the link in the description where I've put my photoshoot prep guide that has a step-by-step guide that shows you how to get shredded.